Hey everybody.
Hello.
Welcome back. We are here to answer some of your general Run Disney questions.
Yes.
We did a vlog that was an answer about all of the Dopey specific and Marathon Weekend, and we had a lot of people ask questions that just kind of pertain to all of Run Disney.
Yes.
So this is that separate video.
Yeah. Basically just general stuff. So we'll just hop right into it so it's not too long.
Oh yeah, let's go.
It's going to be a long video. Sorry, that's just the way it is.
Yes.
But yeah, hopefully this helps answer some of the questions that you have, but if not, comment below and we're happy to talk running anytime.
And thank you to everybody who submitted some of these questions.
Oh yeah, absolutely. For ease for us, I just copy and pasted everything.
And put them in a better order.
So sorry, we're not gonna like shout out who submitted them.
Yeah.
But I think some I might remember. Anyways, all right, here we go. So what Run Disney race is your favorite?
The most recent one that I've done. It's usually that case of like whatever I've done most recently. Dopey Weekend was just awesome because of the community, and we talked more about that in that vlog. So look at that if you want to see more, but just we had so much more fun on this Dopey than we've had on any Run Disney race. Actually, no, our Disneyland, the Dumbo Double Dare was also super fun because we had friends that met us there, and so that made it special too. So anyone where we meet friends is my favorite.
Yeah, absolutely. Whether they're like existing friends who like we make plans to meet there, or we just meet new people, like all super fun.
So before you can go there and meet your friends, Lindsay, how and when do you sign up?
So basically go to the Run Disney website. If you're curious about any of the races, you can go to the Run Disney website and they have a little drop down menu that has all of their races listed, which now is only like 4 or 5 races. Used to be a lot more, but hopefully we'll get back to that once Disneyland's all squared away. But anyways, you can go there and you can see the list of races, and there's like a countdown of how many days until the race, how many days till signups, and it'll give you all the information you need for the dates, the times, all that good stuff. Annual pass holders and DVC members get a little extra benefit. Of course, you get a 2-week head start on signups, which sometimes doesn't matter, but sometimes it really does. Anniversary races tend to sell out really fast. Princess Weekend is always like a huge sellout. I think one year the Princess Half Marathon sold out in like 5 minutes or something like that. Like under an hour. Like just sometimes it's really stressful and intense. Other times you have like weeks and weeks or months to decide. Next question. What all does the race fee include? Does it include park entry?
So the race fee includes your entrance into the races, your entrance into the Expo to buy all of the fun things there. You get a t-shirt for every race you do, a tech shirt actually for most of them, like this. The 5Ks have historically been cotton t-shirts, and then 10Ks and above have been tech shirts, which are really nice. And you get one for every race you do, plus challenges. So Lindsay is wearing her Goofy shirt. Includes your medals. Yeah. And then it also includes you the support along the course of water, Gatorade, some bananas depending on the length of the race, as well as transportation to and from the race if you're staying at a Walt Disney World resort. Yep. So that is all included. What is not included is park entry, which can be a good or a bad thing depending on how you look at it. If you just want to come down and do the races and don't do the parks, cool, you're set. But if you want to come down and go to the parks, it's an added expense. You have to think about park tickets as well.
But you can totally have like an amazing race weekend and not go to the parks.
Yeah.
Like just take your time exploring the Expo. There's so much to do at Walt Disney World outside of the parks. And honestly, like we have annual passes, but we've thought about like on a future year when we don't have annual passes, maybe just don't even buy park tickets, or just buy like a 1-day park ticket to have like one really fun day, but then the rest of the time don't do the parks, and it'll kind of force yourself to stay off your feet and like really take care of yourself.
And just to relax and make it a vacation.
Just enjoy, like stay at the beach club and just hang out at like Stormalong Bay all day. Like that sounds amazing.
That sounds fun. So with how far in advance you have to sign up for some of these races, how far in advance do you start training, Lindsay?
So it totally depends on the race. We like to always have a race on the books and something to look forward to. We take a little bit of time off between races, Sometimes it's more than others. Sometimes it's more than we'd like to admit. But the RunDisney website, again, they have a little section for training for each race, and there's a training plan that Jeff Galloway puts together, and he does like a run, walk, run method. You don't necessarily have to do his run, walk, run thing, but the mileage that he prescribes is like really ideal, I think. And they're, I think, either 12 or 16 week training plans. So you're training about 3 to 4 months in advance. And they start slow with like 3 or 4 miles for your long run and build up to whatever race you're gonna be doing. So it just totally depends on where you're at with what you're training for. But they have things from beginner 5K training plans up to the dopey training plan.
Mm-hmm. And it's always good to have some base mileage of running on your feet before starting any of these training plans.
Yeah.
But if you want to start training for that now, the Couch to 5K, Couch to 10K programs are also very good to start and then hopping into Disney's running plans.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're looking, like say you're looking at a race that's 6 months out, don't just sit on your butt for the next 2 months. Get a little base going, Couch to 5K or something like that's amazing. And then that way, when your training plan begins, you already have a little base and the first couple weeks aren't killing you.
Yeah, take care of yourself. That's the key.
Totally. All right, next question is how do you stay motivated to train?
This one's a hard one because it kind of depends on the time of the year of the race. Like dopey is really hard because you train through Thanksgiving and Christmas time frame. Fall races are hard because you're training through the heat of summer. I think spring races are the best to train for because the weather progressively gets better. But what really motivates us is being a part of some run groups because we get to talk with other people that are excited, and you get excited like they're training, I need to be training. And that helps motivate us when they release the medals, when everybody talks about starting to sign up for races is great. We joined a local running club near our house, and like meeting up with people that are just excited about running, it's infectious. And so that's how we stay motivated.
Just kind of immerse yourself into it. And
you're
like, this is my life now.
Lean into it.
Accept it.
Yeah, if you want to make it a priority in your life, make it a priority. And everything else will follow. All right, Lindsay, so is Disney super strict with the time requirements?
Yes, they are. For every RunDisney race, the minimum pacing requirement is 16-minute miles. And that doesn't mean each individual has to keep a 16-minute mile because they aren't like tracking you individually. From the very back of the pack, that person
must maintain
16-minute miles. So they have these ladies called the balloon ladies who start the race after every single person has crossed the start line, and they maintain a 16-minute mile. So basically, as long as you stay in front of them, you're fine. So if you start in like Corral A, you actually have probably more like a 20-minute mile, depending on the length of your race.
And then that includes stopping for characters, rides, stuff like that.
Yeah, whatever you need to do. Everything you do on the race course is included in your time. So it's not like when you're out on a training run, you can pause your Garmin and be like, this doesn't count if I go to the bathroom right now.
No, I always leave my watch running for that scenario anyway. But yeah, so if you were to fall behind, they have buses that are known as like the parade buses. If you fall behind that 16-minute mile behind the last person, they will start to collect you at buses, and once the buses are full, they will take you to the finish line. And you get what is known as a DNF, a did not finish. It happens to everybody once in a while. If you just don't train well enough, you just feel sick, have a bad day, it happens to everybody eventually. But the balloon ladies, if you end up falling back with them, they're super encouraging and just try to keep up as best you can. But if you have to call it a bad day, it's a bad day. Yeah,
there's no shame in that, and there's no fear in the balloon ladies. You're running your race against yourself. You don't need to worry about what anybody else is doing. I know a lot of people get scared when they start seeing the like minimum pace requirements and hearing these stories about the balloon ladies, but you just have to worry about yourself and worry about your own race. Run the mile that you're in. Don't worry about the fact that there's a pickup spot 2 miles up and are you going to make it there in time. Just run the race where you are at in that time. All right, and so we kind of briefly touched on corrals. The next question is, how do I know my corral?
Do you want to answer this?
Sure. So basically the timeline of RunDisney, you'll sign up for your race, and then about maybe 3-ish weeks, 4 weeks out from your race, the official event guide will be put out, and that will have everything from the times of the races and the expo to when the buses are running, sponsor information, maybe some like little freebie information, all sorts of stuff,
Course maps.
Everything you need is in that guidebook. And then about 2 weeks out, you'll get an email that has your waiver. You have to sign this waiver to say, if I get hurt, I'm not going to sue Disney. Basically, standard waiver. And on that waiver will be your bib number. So on the Disney website somewhere, they'll have a little chart that shows Corral A will be this bib number to this bib number. Corral B will be this bib number to this bib number, and so on. And so you can kind of see where you're going to fall within the corral. All right, next question. How do you tackle the expo?
So what has worked best for Lindsay and I is to be there at least the day before the expo starts, because when we went to, I think it was Princess, Lindsay had her heart set on Disneyland. She had her heart set on a tank top that was sold out by the time we managed to get into the expo. Which was only like 3 hours after it opened. Yeah, like it wasn't that long after, but the stuff, the official merchandise goes super quick. We had friends who, they were at this year's expo just hours after us, and they said they didn't see half the stuff that we showed in our expo vlog. Yeah, from Marathon Weekend. From Marathon Weekend. So for us, our recommendation is if you're somebody who really wants to get something, especially if they send out the preview of the stuff they're gonna have for sale, be there the day before the expo, try to get on one of the earliest first buses, especially if the weather's gonna be nice, get on one of the earliest first buses, go get in line for the official merch. You don't need to worry about picking up your bib first. That's gonna be there. You've already paid for that. You're guaranteed that you will get your bib. So go and get in the line for the official merch first, and then when they open the doors, be some of the first few people. This year there was really bad weather, so we ended up rolling up to the line at like 11:45, and they were just letting people in, and we were probably like within the first 150 people inside. Yeah, because people weren't wanting to stand out in the rain for 3 hours before the expo opened at noon. Now, if there's good weather, people might be willing to stand out there for 3 hours, making sure they're first. But and then once you get in, we kind of try to do a quick lap through everything. Anything that we like, we grab it in our size that we expect, put it in a little basket, and then go sit on the ground and like start trying everything on. And if you don't like it, you can set aside and a cast member will come by, pick it, and return it to the shelves. Yeah, they're constantly in there restocking stuff. So again, if you had your eye on something and you don't happen to see it in your size, just kind of wait around where it's supposed to be. Usually stuff is sorted by like gender and by race, and so you can kind of see, okay, this is where that shirt that I saw online should be. And you can kind of wait around, maybe ask a cast member, and they'll go grab more of it if they have it. But sometimes you're just unlucky and it's the luck of the draw. The challenge stuff seems to go quicker than the other things. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so if you're doing something like the Glass Slipper Challenge, or it was renamed the Fairy Tale Challenge. If you're doing that, go to that section and then go to like the half marathon and then the 10K section. How do you get to the races? And do they have transportation that early? Because the race starts very early. Yes, so every resort on Walt Disney property, they all have buses that will get you to and from the races. When you first check into your hotel, they'll usually have a board up that has, here's what time the buses start, here's what time the last, like when you must be on the buses if you want to get to the corrals on time. They'll have those posted, and we recommend you follow their suggestions. If you have a vehicle, you can also drive yourself. But they prefer people to use the buses to clear up congestion on the highways leading into wherever the race starts. Yeah. Next question is, if your corral is in the back, do you have to be there early and stand around waiting for the race to start? If so, how far in advance? Yes. So like Tony said, they have kind of suggested times of when they want you to be on the bus. The races this year, and so far we've only had Marathon Weekend, and then the times have been posted for Princess. But so far it looks like they're moving all the races to start at 5:30 in the morning. So that makes it very simple across the board, 5:30, irregardless of race length. And they want you on the bus between like 3 a.m. and 4:30 in the morning. So again, those boards and the event guide will explain it. But yeah, they want you there pretty early, and it stinks because if you are in a farther back corral, you're going to be waiting.
Just because the race starts at 5:30 doesn't mean you're starting at 5:30. You might not start until 6:30 or almost 7. We started in the middle of the pack for the marathon, and we were already about 4 miles in, and we are not past. We were already 4 miles in, and we could still see and hear fireworks starting from way back.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of standing around and waiting. If you do have a car, I would recommend like taking a snooze in your car, like drive to the Epcot parking lot, take a snooze, or just bring like a blanket and hang out. Make yourself as comfortable as possible. Bring your breakfast and eat it there, whatever. They have Race Retreat where you can basically buy entrance to this tent that's open until the start of the race. That might be a good option. If you're just like someone who's really impatient and not wanting to stand out on the Florida highway, I feel you. Nobody wants to do it.
No.
It's just part of it, unfortunately. But yeah, definitely follow their recommendations for when they want you to be there. What happens to all of your cold weather layers?
So you do need to be there early, and it's generally pretty cold, especially the January and February races.
Yes.
So what a lot of people will do is they'll put on extra layers just for waiting before the race starts, and then as they approach the start line, they will start discarding layers. It's always a good advice to have your race bib on the outside, on the outermost layer, just so they can see it for photos and to make sure your chip reads. But as you discard those layers, RunDisney will actually collect those and donate those. Over this last marathon weekend, they collected over 13,000 pounds of cold weather clothes and donated those to various charities to give out to people that need it. So Lindsay, how do you stay hydrated, and are there pit stops?
Yes, there are pit stops.
Zoom, 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 zoom.
So yes, throughout the race, there will be a number of water stops, usually about every mile, mile and a half. It depends on the race length and the exact course, but they're not going to let you just be parched out there. If you're someone who needs water more often than that, by all means, bring your own water. Like, there's no limitations to what you can bring. But otherwise, there are water stops about every mile, mile and a half, and about every other stop also has Powerade. And then occasionally there's like sports beans or some sort of other little nutrition to get you through. All right, so the next question is, what do you bring with you at a race? Food, headphones, water?
Bring whatever you are most comfortable with and you have trained with, because you won't always agree with what they have on the courses. If you're a picky eater or have like specific like digestive issues, bring your own stuff. Yes,
this year they just switched one of their sponsors from the Goo Energy mushy things to sports beans. Some people were really excited about that because Goo messes with their stomachs. Other people were like, no, I trained with Goo, now I don't have it. So always pay attention and make sure you read the guide because things change. But we try not to be too dependent food-wise on RunDisney. We'll take all the water and Powerade they can give us, but food-wise, we like to bring our own.
So what we found works best for us, we have these Honey Stinger fruit smoothie flavored gummies. Sometimes it's just nice to have something to like chew and munch on. We used to use the Goos, but we didn't enjoy like actually consuming those. But these things are delicious. They're just like fruit snacks. We like the fruit smoothie flavor, as well as the pomegranate passion flavor. These are the two favorite, and you can make these pretty small to fit into, like, we have waist, was it a flip belt, and we have a water hydration belt, both from Nathan brand, that we can fit these into. So we bring those along. Something else we bring just for a change in texture, peanut M&Ms in the little fun packs. We'd like to put them in the freezer ahead of time, that way they're like cold and they won't, it'll take longer for them to melt. And just like the crunch of them and the taste, like, is just really good out there, like on the course. And both this or the Goo or the gummies, we try to eat about every 3 miles or so, just to kind of like keep ingesting calories, because you're burning a lot of calories out there, about 100 calories per mile. And whatever energy or nutrition you decide to use, if it's like a sports nutrition thing, it'll probably have a recommended mileage or time, like every 45 minutes have half a pack or whatever. So start with following that recommendation and then just fine tune it to your body's specific needs.
what works for us might not necessarily work for you. What works for Tony doesn't necessarily work for me each time. Like we have a little, slightly different needs, slightly different bodies.
Very different bodies. Our own bodies.
We're two separate people.
We're people. Something else that we've been bringing lately on our training runs, our friend Megan suggested this to us, is Tailwind Nutrition. You can get a sample pack of, I think like they have 8 different flavors in these individual sizes on Amazon. Green tea has been one of our favorite ones, as well as Tropical Buzz, Raspberry, I think just berry.
We like the caffeinated flavors.
Yeah, the caffeinated flavors are good for us. This is like all-inclusive nutrition, so you mix this into a bottle, and one of these packets makes 24 ounces.
You mix it with water.
Mix with water, so you can bring a packet of this on with you on like your race, and when they go to refill, if you want to refill your water bottles at a stop, you can refill that and mix one of these in. And then the last big item that we bring with us is this camera.
Yes.
It is a Canon G7X Mark II. We use that, and then we have actually a GoPro handle that does not extend, because you cannot bring selfie sticks or anything that extends on the race course. So we have a handle that does not extend, and then a little adapter that we can put this on. So I'm just gripping that handle the whole race, as opposed to like trying to dig the camera out and holding it like this.
Yeah.
So we like putting it onto the stick so we can record along the course. And then if there's a chance of rain, we may bring the GoPro. We have a GoPro Silver 4 Plus
Hero
limited
something?
edition.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyways,
it's not the new one. It's a couple years old.
Yeah, a couple years old GoPro, but we have that in case the weather's not as great and we won't want to bring this.
Yeah, we have like a waterproof case for the GoPro if it's like a downpour. Yeah. All right, next question. Is there time to see characters and do rides during the runs?
Yes, as long as you have trained to run faster than that 16-minute mile, and you know your pacing and your body, there is absolutely time to meet characters and rides. That's half the fun of doing a RunDisney race.
Yeah. If you do a race and you don't meet any characters or stop to take any photos or anything like that, like you might as well just be doing a race anywhere.
So we recommend trying to train to at least get faster than that 16-minute mile pace if you want to try to stop and meet characters. They have some fun ones out there. This last time, Jiminy Cricket was a huge hit. Genie is always out in his Walt Disney World Goofy hat and travel shirt. Sebastian, Maleficent, the Evil Queen, Anna and Elsa. Like there's a lot.
Some really fun ones, and sometimes some like really like rare character sightings.
Yeah, so you do have time for that. You need to make sure you make your pacing goals. Like the first year that we did the Walt Disney World Marathon, we were able to ride Expedition Everest. That was a whole mess. We thought we were like gonna get swept, so we're like, if we're gonna get swept, we may as well say it's because we rolled the roller coaster. This year, we did not quite have the pacing to ride Expedition Everest. Maybe next year.
Looking back, we probably did, but I'm glad we didn't risk it because it gave us about another like 15 minutes that we were able to just slow down and enjoy the second half. We stopped for more characters within the second half, just had more fun with it.
But yes, you may be able to ride Expedition Everest.
Yeah, some people will make like a fast pass for that time to ensure that they can do it. Other people will just hop in single rider line. It just depends. But I think the marathon is the only race that the park is open for. So that's, if you want to ride a race, if you want to ride a ride during a race, you have to do the marathon.
All right, next question. Is it hard to run in a costume or set of ears?
For me, it has not been hard. We have not done like super intricate or intense costumes. We've kept them fairly simple, and I've tried to make them with the base of them being like running clothes and materials. As far as the ears go, I ran the half marathon this year in January in these ears, and they were amazingly comfortable. Like barely felt them on my head. These are by Milo mouse ears.
Hi Mila.
And the other pair of ears that I wore were my black and red classic Walt Disney World Park ears. I wore those a few years ago at Princess, and they were super comfortable as well. I have a few pairs of ears that are not comfortable, and I would not even attempt a 5K in because they just literally hurt my head so much. Like my silver Disney Park ears, I don't know why they're so much smaller and uncomfortable. But so definitely if something's uncomfortable for you when you're not running, it's going to be so much more annoying for you when you are running. So don't even attempt it. Always try to do a test run in any costume before you make that your race costume. So you know, like, okay, this tutu is tight enough or too tight or whatever, and you have time to adjust it at home. You might feel silly running around in some weird costume, but you know you're going to be set up for success once you're out on the race course. All right, next question. After the race, how do I get my race photos?
In recent years, RunDisney shifted from having a separate company doing the photos to now the cast members, the PhotoPass photographers, are actually going to be doing that. So if you're an annual pass member, you get your memory maker built into that price. If you are not an annual pass holder, you will have to buy a memory maker for your trip as a whole, and you'd be able to get those photos.
Or you can buy individual photos. Basically, on the back side of your bib, it will have the information of how to plug in your race number to the My Disney Experience and associate it so that all your photos will pop up. Some will populate like almost as soon as they're right after they're taken. Others take a few days. So if you're not seeing a photo right after a race, give it a few days to populate in there, and then you can buy those or download them or whatever. Some races you get more photos than others. It just depends. Like, we're photo people, we love having photos and video and all that to remember trips by. So for us, having the memory maker is always worth it. But I can't say like, oh, you're gonna get 500 photos. I don't know, you might only get 5.
And also, a quick tip is the faster you are and the farther ahead you are in the corrals, the better chance you have of getting good photos, because you'll be a little bit more spread out than kind of the back of the pack where we generally hang out.
Yeah, there's a lot of people, and so sometimes people are blocking you or you're blocking other people or whatever. It's a lot. The photographers can't get everybody at every single spot, unfortunately.
But yeah, the faster you are, the better chance you have.
Yeah.
All right, Lindsay, so after the races, are the parks busy?
Yes, they're generally pretty busy. Usually races fall on or kind of near a holiday weekend. This year's marathon was very soon after the new year, so there was a lot of holdover from holiday people, and then the marathon itself brings in a ton of people. 50,000 people at least. Yeah, I think there was 25,000 people running the marathon itself, and then there's also people running the half and the 5K and the 10K and families who were there and volunteers and all that. It's a lot of people. The parks are insanely busy. Make fast passes and dining reservations and do everything you possibly can. Pack your patience pants.
Yes, and that applies to all the RunDisney races. Every weekend we've been at, it's pretty close to a holiday weekend, so you have that chance of it being really busy.
Yeah. So along those lines, someone asked, what time do you recommend making fast passes and dining reservations for? And it really depends on the race distance that you're doing and how fast you are. So basically, I would just say look at what time the races are starting, about how long you expect to take to finish that race, and then know, okay, maybe 20 minutes to get back to the hotel, however long it takes you to get ready, and then however long it's going to take you to get back out to that next park or whatever.
And then also, some people just like to finish the races and go right back into the park, and that's okay too.
Yeah, a lot of people will do, because most of the races start and end in the Epcot parking lot, so a lot of people will go into Epcot and have breakfast or whatever. Garden Grill's a really popular one for that. And yeah, that's pretty much that. All right, and our very last question is, how do you display your medals? Like
so. We have 2 medal racks that actually hold our bibs on them, and then they have like a few individual hooks you might be able to see above our head. We've since become such accomplished runners that we had to get a second row. We went to Bed Bath & Beyond and actually got some small curtain rods and the hardware for them, and they're doing a pretty good job. It helps us like stagger out the medals, like so we have one row and then the other row of medals underneath it. I recently saw somebody's display where it was nothing but curtain rods, and they had them all long enough that you could see the entire ribbon and the medal, and then the next ribbon and the medal. Like their whole wall was taken up by it. Yeah. think that was Brandon who we met from
Oh, okay.
at this most
Cool,
recent
yeah.
weekend. But like he has a whole wall of just of Run Disney medals, which is
That's
super cool. We're probably gonna have to get a third one here for this year's worth of medals, like another row.
Yeah, I think our actual like wooden racks hold like 11 medals each, and then we have like 10 on the next row, and that's about as much as I want to put on that curtain rod, because we bought very thin curtain rods so that it's not like bulky or distracting, and that's kind of our plan, is to just add more rows down rather than bulk them up, so that we can really thoroughly see all the medals, because this is kind of like our Run Disney inspiration section.
And filming section.
Yes.
So
yeah, that's how we do that.
And so again, thank you everybody for sending in your questions, whether it was Twitter or Instagram or here on YouTube.
Yeah.
If there's any questions we didn't answer that you'd like to know more information about, leave those comments below,
Yeah,
or
for sure.
DM us on one of those other social media apps, and we'll be sure to get back to those. For now though, our question for you is, what is your next Disney race, or what is the next big race that you have on the horizon?
Totally.
Because we want to encourage you guys to do it. We've gotten a lot of people messaging us.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's been amazing. We've gotten a couple people messaging us like, hey, thanks for doing this type of video, because like I just started the Couch to 5K program, and I'm gonna do a Disney half marathon someday, or something like that.
Or Run Disney didn't even interest me until I saw your videos and was like, yeah, I could do that. Like, that is so cool.
Yeah.
Like,
that's amazing.
It's
like,
so fun.
We just like capturing our vacation memories for ourselves. And it's been cool that like other people have enjoyed watching them or been inspired by them even. Like, that was not something that I even thought would be happening, and that it's really cool. Like, so yeah, if that's how you feel,
thank you.
Thank you, because we love that. And like, honestly, now that's how we're gonna get motivated through our next race.
Yeah. So again, thank you everybody for watching, and we hope to see you out there.
Yeah.